There are two math sections on the ISEE, since one is never enough for most people. The first math section is called Quantitative Reasoning, and the second is called Mathematics Achievement. They're really just big names for math. The Quantitative Reasoning section is supposed to be a little different than the ordinary calculating you do in the classroom. The Mathematics Achievement section is a little more like the problem solving you do in class. So how should you tackle the math sections? Let's give it a try. In the math sections, there are usually more than one way to do a problem. You want the way that has the best chance of getting the right answer, and you want the way that gets you the answer quickly. Let's try this problem first by trying out the answer choices. First, if we want to calculate the total cost, x, then the equation should say either x equals something or something equals x, right? One of our choices doesn't even have x in it. If you're in a rush, you might think that t is for total, but they don't even mention t in the problem, right? So dump that one. Now try out b. Not only is it missing h completely, which is suspicious, but when you simplify, you get a negative number. When was the last time a rental shop gave you money to rent a bike? Now, even if you had to guess, you just gave yourself a pretty good odds of getting this point. The 2/5 is like a slope on a line graph. If it's negative, that means that as you ride your bike for more hours, the cost goes down. That's not too likely. Now there's only one left. If you were running out of time, you could choose C and move on without even having to calculate. Sometimes that happens. Wouldn't that make you happy? But if you do have time, be a surgeon to be sure there are no goofs. No one's going to have a goof-free test, but we try anyway. So let's try out C. It looks like the formula for a line, right? And it tells us that the total, x, equals 2 times h, the number of hours, plus the $5 original fee. So does this make sense? Even if you have to move pretty fast on the test, this one looks like it's the best answer, and we can move on quickly to rack up more points. But there's another way we could have done this problem. Anytime you see that the answers have variables in them, it's a pretty good clue that you can find the answer by plugging in easy, real-world numbers. On this one, for example, let's say you rented the bike for 2 hours. How much would you pay then? Go ahead, we'll wait. That's right, if you had to pay $5 just to take the bike out the door, then $2 for an hour for 2 hours, you would pay $9. Here's what we get. If you're in too much of a hurry, this strategy is a great way to check your answers, even when you've used a different strategy to figure out a problem. Something to know when you plug in your own numbers is it's usually a bad idea to use 1. Since a number times 1 and a number divided by 1 give the same answer, it can cause trouble. Also, once in a blue moon, you'll find that more than one answer works for the number you picked. If you choose x equals 2, then both of these come out 4. If that happens, just pick another easy number and try again. That usually takes care of the problem. Sometimes, though, the quickest way is to just calculate and get an answer. In this case, the quickest, surest way was to solve the problem like you do in class. Depending on the strategy you work with best, you'll probably do most of the problems this way. So how will you know which strategy to use? Just the same way baseball players or pianists get a good idea of what to do next. They practice until there are very few surprises. After you've seen all the different kinds of problems a few times, you'll start to see which ways will work best on each kind. But there's one more thing that's a pretty big deal. In the quantitative reasoning part, there is a kind of problem called quantitative comparisons. In these, they'll give you 2 columns with 2 different answers to a problem. Then you will have 4 choices. Which would you bubble in here? Nice work. That's it. That's everything you need to know to get started on the math sections. Now, with a little practice, you'll get to know these things like the back of your hand.